I'm here at the Kurdish Textile Museum on top of the ancient Erbil citadel with Mr. Lolan Mustafa, who is the founder of the entire museum. Thank you so much, Mr. Mustafa, for this opportunity. How old is this museum? When did you first start it?
The museum was established in 2004.
2004.
Yeah.
That's 22 years ago.
22 years ago. But collecting and preserving these textiles, I started in exactly in January 1991 when I came back from the States and visited my family for the first time.
1991.
Yeah.
So that's 35 years
It's
ago.
35 years ago. So, yeah.
And you told me that these rugs and textiles were mostly made by nomadic, semi-nomadic Kurdish tribes, and you worried that if you did not quickly preserve some of these, because the nomads are not practicing the old tradition anymore, the textiles will also be gone. And that was your reason.
Yeah, actually, the main reason one day in early 1991, when there were previous regime, Saddam Hussein had a sanction on Kurdistan. So people were very poor. So all the tribes and people from the cities and villages, they sold their textiles very inexpensively just to get something to pay to, for daily basis and uses.
To survive.
To survive, exactly. So the problem goes back to the 1980s when the Iraq-Iran war in the 80s till the end of 1980s, the previous regime, Saddam Hussein, destroyed thousands of villages started from 1975 until,
1988.
Yeah. So at the same time, the military Iraqi regime planted millions, up to 1 million landmines in the Highland Mountains on, let's say, southern Kurdistan and to eastern Kurdistan, to southern Kurdistan to northern Kurdistan on the border of all the way from Zagros Mountain from the south between to the southern Kurdistan, eastern Kurdistan, all the way to Taurus Mountain.
It's all planted with landmines.
Yes.
And that landmine, those areas are exactly where these nomads
the nomadic tribes
for.
where they spend their summertime in the Highland Mountains. When the lowland gets drier, and so they would go to the Highland Mountains up to 3,500 meters above sea level. Wow. It's plenty of meadows, grasslands, and fresh water and flowers, and so they feed their sheep and goats and horses and animals in the mountains during summertime. But when after the plantation of the landmines, and in the recent years, on bombarding by Turkish air forces on daily basis and Iranians, so the nomadic tribes, there were a lot of victims by children, women, men, including animals, died of the landmines and bombarding. So, and when the previous regime again, when destroyed thousands of villages, relocated the tribes to southern part of Iraq, so the tribes abandoned raising animal and, of course, the weaving tradition. So, unfortunately, the second and the third generation Kurdish women and men didn't learn the weaving skills. So
do you think the weaving tradition is completely gone now, or there are maybe one or two tribes, one family still making them?
No, actually, it is. I would say it's totally died out. But there are just a few, let's say, elderly nostalgic shepherds. They go back to the summer Highland Mountains, but not the black tent with the military white tent and just spending some time, but not with animals.
Yeah, not with animals.
No.
So that means all the rugs and textile we see were made from the hair and wool of goats and sheep.
Yeah.
And you showed me also the natural dyes, the colors that they used. Everything is natural, we can say.
It is natural. The Kurdish people in the past domesticated animals in thousands of years ago, and So they domesticated very heavy sheep, heavy ships with hairy, very strong hairy and long hairy, and with natural dyes. So it is, they made all these textiles. None of these textiles are used for merchandise purposes. They are all used for
Home use.
utilitarian purposes, for daily uses.
Wow, so
You
that's
have
amazing.
saddlebags, you have mattresses for sleeping, and pillows, and blankets, and socks, and clothing for children, women, baby carrier.
Everything handmade, homemade.
Yeah, the saddlebags and all for daily use.
Wow, it's amazing because in some countries, maybe in Europe, in other countries, these are hung as decoration in the rich people's homes or fancy places, whereas tens of years ago or hundreds of years ago, Kurdish shepherds were using these for home use,
For
to
home
walk
use?
on, to sleep on, to cover themselves with.
Yeah, for transportation, for daily uses, by all kinds of practical uses that they needed, while they are in the Highland Mountains or the lower land.
So in the past 35 years, we can say, you have collected, you said, about 1,500, which is 1,500 pieces.
Yes, almost.
And how did you collect them all? You sat in Erbil and you made phone calls to bring them to you, or you went looking for them?
No, actually, I did started collecting, buying, and preserving in 1991. In January 1991, when I came for the first time back to Kurdistan, I was in the States then. I'm both Kurdish and Swedish citizens, by the way. So,
but you also, did you live or study in the U.S.?
I just studied in the U.S.
Where?
I studied in Minnesota, state of Minnesota. I have bachelor's degree in arts from St. Cloud State University in Minnesota. I graduated in 1996.
Wow. And then that's why I think you, apart from collecting and preserving the textile, you also have researched and studied the nomadic tribes of Kurdistan for a number of years. It's all part of one effort.
I have documented and I have written a lot of essays and reports on Kurdish nomads, textiles, the motifs, the symbols, the life of the Kurds. So it's been my main objective to try to document the life of the nomads, and I have spent a lot of times with the nomadic tribes in the Highland Mountains, staying over months and 2 months during summer times and winter time, visiting them, and I had good relations with most of the nomadic tribes on the Highland Mountains.
So do you think, like the weaving industry, the nomadic lifestyle has also disappeared, or it is still practiced?
No, actually, it's not practiced anymore. They are all settled in villages and cities in Kurdistan.
And if a family, sometimes I see a family or two, they go to the mountains for a couple of months, that's not considered
Then
nomadic.
actually, there's some elderly, nostalgic shepherds. They go to the mountains just spending some time there, but without animals. Yeah.
Without their animals.
Yes.
So for how many years do you think the Kurdish people practiced this nomadic lifestyle? For how, 1,000 years or more or less?
As we know that from history, when there were ice age in Europe, and when the domestication the domestication of animals started in Zagros Mountain in Kurdistan thousands of years ago. And agricultural settlement and planting seeds of wheat and barley, that goes back to Kurdistan. So therefore we have, they have domesticated very heavy and woolly sheep and goats.
Wow,
and horses, pigs, and dogs as well.
So a tradition that lasted thousands of years, unfortunately, it's gone now.
You
can people, do you think people can, is there a way to revive that tradition?
It is because the lifestyle is changed totally from to being a nomadic and herding animals and to be settled.
Yeah.
So, and unfortunately, I mean, we talk about the elderly nomadic people, women, men, they are, most of them passed away. So the second and third and fourth generation didn't learn. They didn't. They were not able to transfer the weaving skills to a younger generation, Kurds. So unfortunately, yeah, it's the problem.
So you told me that you have spent time with the nomadic tribes, you studied and researched them, and you, for 35 years, you have been collecting these pieces. You've been through a lot to make this a reality. Why did you do all that?
Because when the previous regime, Saddam Hussein, had sanctions on Kurdistan after 1991, so people were very poor here in Kurdistan. They sold their textiles very inexpensively, so just get some money to spend it on their
To buy bread.
to buy bread. And even the rug dealers in Erbil sent trucks to the villagers and bought a lot of textiles. So my major fear was that the Iranians and mostly the Turkish rug dealers they come to Kurdistan and bought hundreds of pieces of textiles very, very inexpensively.
Very cheap.
And they're very cheap, and they took back to Istanbul and sell it in Sultan Ahmed to foreign tourists very expensively. I have witnessed that with the.
You've seen it with your
I have
eyes,
seen it
Kurdish textile in Istanbul.
In Istanbul, in Sultan Ahmed. When I used to ask them, how much does it cost this rug or kilim or saddlebag, they would, ask me like over $1,000 per piece, even more.
And you were sure they had bought it for $50?
I'm sure I would tell them this is from my hometown, this is from Kurdistan. Oh, they would get angry. They would call police and they take you away. This is from Anatolia. This is what Kurdish? There is no Kurds.
Yeah, so that's the fear. Once it leaves Kurdistan, it also loses their identity.
Actually, that was my main objective: try to preserve, to preserve as much as I can. So I spent all my, I had jobs and working, but I spent almost of my
all of your money
to preserve the textile before thinking about establishing the museum.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because you started the museum in 2004.
Yeah.
And this is a house, an old house on the citadel.
Yeah.
You were given this, even the renovation and everything you did yourself.
Yes, I did the renovation. First renovation took 6 months. So, and I can show you how the house would look like in the past, and now it's.
That's
and amazing. But the good thing we have to thank actually the German government and the U.S.
They have helped you.
They helped me because as I mentioned, the weaving skills totally died out. So because I had a good relations with many nomadic tribes, so what I did, I hired 5 elderly nomadic women weavers as a masters.
Wow.
And over 35 young Kurdish girls as students. So at the Textile Museum here in 2008 for 3 years.
Wow.
So the elderly women were teaching the weaving skills to younger generation girls.
Wow. So it was like a school.
It was like a school. And the project was funded by USAID through the US General Consulate in Erbil for 2 years and 2 months.
Wow.
And myself and the governorate of Erbil run the project for another year.
Another year.
Yeah. And we produced, and the young girls, they learned the weaving skills. So we produced rugs, kilims, baby carriers, saddlebags, clothing, socks, all kinds of and we have the samples at the storage here.
And you said that most of these rugs are from Erbil province, because Erbil has the highest mountains and nomadic tribes lived on the high peaks. Can we not find any rugs, not here, but in Kurdistan, that is from the Jaf area, Garmian, for example, from Duhok?
Yeah, of course, I have visited all highland mountains, not Erbil highland mountains, where we have the most of nomadic tribes on Erbil highland mountains, on Erbil Iranian and Erbil Turkish borders. So, but I have also visited the Haraman area and Jaf area in Germian, in Haraman, and visited eastern Kurdistan and traveled among the tribes. And I have been twice to northern Kurdistan, all the way from Diyarbakir to Van, Jolimerik, and Kars. And so I've been documenting. I have the
And those tribes also made
they are
textiles.
they have all faced the same problem. So you can go to any rug dealers in Turkey, all over Turkey. Most of them, they are Kurdish textiles. So yeah, but I have pieces from all the parts.
Yeah.
From Jaf tribe. This felt is felt, pressed wool from Kermanshah.
This one, wow.
Yeah, and from Yazidis over there, and from Zaho and eastern Kurdistan, but mainly from Erbil, because Erbil is considered a cosmopolitan of Kurdish tribes, nomadic tribes in particular, besides the biggest numbers of nomadic tribes, because Erbil has the highest mountain peaks and grasslands in highland mountains and fresh water and vegetations. So in the highlands during summertime, so the nomads would go up to 3,000, 3,500 meters above sea level.
Wow, with their livestock.
With their livestock. And you will still find icy lakes during summertime. It gets below zero after 5 p.m. When it's 45 degrees Celsius in Erbil, it gets below zero after 5 p.m. in the highland mountains.
That's nice. In your life, in the last 35, 40 years of studying and researching nomadic tribes and collecting these pieces, have you met anyone, any woman, to say, I made this rug myself? Did you ever connect one piece with the weaver?
I have thousands of pictures taken, and I have seen the women weavers and have been talking to them and have been reported. So I was lucky to document the life of the nomads. I have the names of the nomad, how many families, how many sheep and goats and animals, and the situation, the social problems, the education for kids, and schools and women issues. And
did you do that just out for your personal interest or for a project?
No, just not for just try to learn and to document the life of nomadic tribes with a great respect, because I knew the dangers of the nomadic tribes they went through. So
how many? You said the highest concentration of nomadic tribes in Kurdistan are in Erbil province. How many tribes were there in the early 90s? How many tribes were practicing nomadic lifestyle?
You can see two areas: Kandil Mountains, and particularly Halgurt Mountain. It's called Halgurt Mountain and Chiridere. So you have the Mantuk tribe and Bilbas and Akko from other parts, from Prishtar area, from Kaladze and Rania, and nomadic tribes of Erbil, from Surchi and Sreshmei. And on the other side of Halgurt Mountain, on broadest area, to where you have Bermasart, Chelashin, and Berdaspi. I forgot the name. So where the Harki tribe and Sreshmei again, Balaki tribe on Chelashin.
So that's like 20 more, even more.
20s. I have all the documents, so I can I have forgotten to to say now, but I have documented. I have the pictures, and I have I have documented the life of the nomads by all means, that how it's related to their daily life and the dangers of their lives, and I have taken pictures and reported on the landmines and the bombs, and I have all these documents.
Are you? How do you feel about the fact that this ancient tradition of nomadic lifestyle weaving has disappeared? Does it make you sad? Is it important for a people, for a nation, to keep that part of their history?
Yes, because this is like it became a part of me, and that was made me to start to do something. So I can see, beside of my sadness and going through and seeing that how it would look like in the next generation in the future. So what I did, I was lucky to document to preserve the textiles, the richness of Kurdish culture, that I can tell about their life and women position and the talent of weaving and using natural dyes and the responsibility of shepherd and shepherdess and people and women and children.
Yeah. And there is one thing always, for example, when you mention a specific food, another nation stands up and says, that belongs to us, that's our food, that's our creation. With these rugs and textiles, I guess no other nation in the area can say, no, that belongs to us, because these are very specific Kurdish tribes who made them.
Many tourists, and particularly Western foreign European tourists, they get very surprised when they visit the textile museum. They see why the Kurdish textiles are so colorful, so bright in color. And this is, say, well, this is the reflection of the Highland Mountains, plenty of flowers and vegetations and plants and snow. So this is reflecting their
environment.
The Kurdish culture and Kurdish nature.
And you said you have collected 1,500 pieces. Are they all on display here, or some of them are stored away?
No, actually, it's not exactly sure how many exactly. So I have about 400 displayed pieces and over 1,000 pieces at the storage.
Why do you not show the other ones? Do you have
Because
no space?
Actually I have no space, and we rotate once a while the textiles, but it's safe. So as I mentioned, actually, the German General Consulate in Erbil financed the conservation of the textile. So I had good relations with the textile conservators from many places. So we were lucky. We had a PhD degree textile conservator from Belgium, Anne-Marie Dezer. She worked in UK in Cambridge universities as a textile professor. So we were lucky to have her.
She came here
to Kurdistan and stayed for stayed about 6 months in once, and so she taught our employees and how to conserve, besides just having the textiles, how to conserve the textiles and how to display the textiles. So the Textile Museum conservation storage is on international standard, and we were very lucky. And the display of the museum the Textile Museum has an international standard as a museum, worldwide museum.
Wow, that's what you have done. Really is amazing. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for all this information. I would like you to tell me about these hats, if you don't mind, these Kurdish hats.
Yeah. Well,